What's up, y'all? Happy Tuesday morning. What's up, Artemio, Billy Bob Bry? Got the regulars in here already. Right on, right on. Just we got a short little coffee story for you today. I think you guys will enjoy it. Sorry about the 11:30. Well, it's 11:30 for me. Stuck in Austin traffic, man. I put up a post for members, so hopefully everybody got it. But you know, that's show business. Austin traffic. There's nothing like it, guys. Pennsylvania Plowboy, good whatever time of the day is just good for you. Yeah, I mean, sometimes these change a little bit just on necessity, but I try to keep them as regular as I can. So good. Glad everybody's coming in. Hiya, everyone. Says Happy Cappy. What's up, Plowboy, by the way? Colombian coffee with some creamer, says Artemio. Nice, nice, man. I got what is this? Oh, this is French roast. Usually I like lighter roasts earlier in the day, but you got to play the hand you're dealt. To be fair, I dealt that hand to myself, but so today, we'll kind of go over what we're going to go over and then jump into it in a few minutes when everybody comes in. We are going to be talking about, it's a short story from Indian Depredations in Texas. I always do this, but let me do it again because I feel like anybody that doesn't have this book, any of you would really enjoy this book. So if you don't have it, highly encourage you to get it. Indian Depredations in Texas. Let me pull it up for y'all here. I think you can get it for like $1 on Kindle. Yeah, well worth the price because I talk about this all the time, but it's just a really easy read. Nothing I like more than easy reads. This story is like 2 pages in it, but it's brutal. It kind of snuck up on me. I'd read it before and I just kind of, I don't know, it got lost in the shuffle, but it's a Kiowa specific story from it's up around Dallas, like a little bit north of Dallas. And it's rough stuff, guys. It's rough stuff. We kind of underestimate. I've talked about this before, but sometimes we underestimate the Kiowa, but they were out there getting down. So interesting story. I think you guys would like it. What's up, Mike Holtz? Good to see you, man. Oh, Mike Holtz, email me if you get time today because I was trying to find your email yesterday, and I guess I haven't emailed you yet. So yeah, shoot me an email whenever you get time. history@theokcorral.com because I can give you my address and also the shipping address here. And then I got a podcast. I think you would like a wrestling podcast. I think you'd really like. Let's see. Yeah, hit me up anytime whenever you got time. No hurry. But glad you made it today. Tokoloshi, what's up, man? Good to see you. Bamadiana, good to see you. Good to see you. Let's see. We got Happy Cappy. We got all the regulars in here already. We'll go another couple minutes and then we'll jump into the coffee chat story. It's pretty short, but I think you guys will like it. It's intense. If it was any longer, it might be a bit much. Yeah, Kiowa story. We got a wagon. It's about wagon teamsters. So what's up, Space Cowboy? We have all the classic elements of an HOKC story. It's just like literally 2 pages long and there's not enough detail to put in an episode. So perfect coffee time story. What are y'all drinking? Everybody drinking coffee? Sometimes it's like noon, 12:30 for some of y'all. So no shame if we're breaking out something harder than that, Let's see. Make sure I'm catching up with everybody. And if you don't have this book, the link is at the top. We've talked about Indian Depredations in Texas before, and it's a classic. It's a must read. If you're Christmas shopping for somebody who likes Old West history, get it for them. And if you are Christmas shopping for somebody that does not like old history, probably get them something else. This will freak them out a little bit. Heck no coffee, says Bamadiana. I understand. It's a divisive drink. 19 hours and 30 here. So that's what, 7:30? 7:30 p.m. Tokoloshi? Right? Yeah, I'm bad with military time. Let's see. I'm bad with acronyms and military time. So the military has no use for me. Let's see. It's 7:30. What's up, Sean Welland? Good to see you, man. Tuning in from Dublin, Ireland. Right on. Mike Holtz is the email address at Gmail. It is history@theokcorral@gmail.com. Same for any of the rest of you. You have something you want to hit me up with. I don't know if Arizona Boy is in here yet, but I'll be hitting you up later in a couple of days. Arizona Boy and I are doing a special topic. I think you guys will enjoy. Let's see. All right. I think we got 20 people in here. Right on. If you are in here, if you're just coming in here, be sure to hit the like button. That really helps us get the stream out there. and share this episode, share this stream with somebody that you know who likes history. You must know somebody. Everybody likes history here. You got to have at least one friend that likes history. Send it to them. Keep badgering them with it until they finally watch. Happy Cappy says, I'm drinking coffee. Me too. Me too. Out of our beautiful mug that will be available next week. Sean, my son, just had his honeymoon in Dublin. Oh, beautiful. Right on. Congratulations on your son getting married, Bemidyan. Let's see. All right. So let me pull up the page number if you want to follow along here. This is on the Kindle app. It is on page. Oh, I have to look it up. I thought I had it pulled up here. It is on page 85. So it's like I said, it's barely 2 pages, but it's a good one. All right. Cool. Let's jump into it here. Oops. Now I'm losing my windows. All right. So actually, let me break down where this happens first. So this happens up in kind of the almost northeast corner of Texas, up between Jacksboro and Fort Griffin. So I'll kind of have to juxtapose these because I don't have a map of the actual route. But let's look at Jacksboro first. So our Teamster train here, 10 guys in a Teamster train. Teamsters are wagon drivers, basically. They're kind of a jack of all trades in the wagon industry. So like truckers today. So let me zoom in on that just a touch more. Bring this up here so you can get a good view of it. There we go. Cool. Oh, that didn't bring it up for y'all. Well, that sucks. Okay, so what we're talking about is where this little red dot is here. That is the origin point for our guys today. And where they are going is Fort Jacksboro, Fort Griffin. Yeah, Fort Jacksboro. They are heading towards Fort Griffin. So it's not a terribly long route. This happened on Salt Creek, which, as best as I can determine, is right about here, not quite the halfway point for these guys. So take this off here. The man in charge is named John Nolan, and this happens in 1871. So this is getting getting to be the culmination of the Comanche and Kiowa Wars. Really, the final push in the Red River War is coming up in a couple years. This is we're starting to see the Kiowa and Comanche territory really retract around this time, and as Texas kind of starts to push westward and northwestward. We're seeing a lot more combat in the North Texas, in the Panhandle area, and this will eventually culminate in the Battle of Palo Duro. This is actually kind of the early iterations of Colonel Ranald McKenzie's time in Texas, and this news will get back to him. We'll be circling back to McKenzie's reaction to this at the end of the story. So a man named John Nolan and 10 Teamsters along with him are taking supplies to Fort Griffin from Jacksboro. It is they were about 16 miles northwest of Salt Creek, and they are attacked. We got 11 guys, right, in this wagon train. They are attacked by 90 to 100 Kiowa warriors is the rough estimate. So let's go with the probably a little bit higher estimate of that, probably 100, somewhere in there. Again, they just sweep down upon them on this prairie that's near the Salt Creek. Let's see, there are 4 Teamsters that are unalived in this first attack. The account says they just started pouring arrows in. So before there's even a charge, it's just arrows, just a shower of arrows. So we're thinking probably 100 arrows, like one per warrior, and that's roughly 10 arrows per guy in the 9 arrows per guy in the wagon train. So there's a lot of fire just pouring in out of nowhere all at once. 4 guys are taken out initially, and that leaves 7 guys. It says the Kiowa are elated at their success, and they start pouring into the middle of the wagon train and circling it. One of the Teamsters guys, this is the worst thing you could do. They always say don't panic, right? Especially applies in plains warfare. Like, do not. What's up, Nick Sweeney? Good to see you. Right on time, right? Let's see. No, Nick Sweeney, you're the best, man. Let's see. I want to make sure I don't miss anybody in the chat here. I'm going to get like halfway through the story and then we'll check the chat real quick. Like we said, or like I was saying, the worst thing that you can do is panic. Don't do it. So one guy freaks out and panics. We saw this in the Herman Lehman Apache raid story, where three of the guys they were attacking took off to a defensive position, and they ended up being okay. One guy freaked out and ran off on his own, and they are always going to get you. So this one guy freaks out. He runs off on his own. The Kiowa are just like, this is awesome. We got an easy one here. They take him over in sounds like less than a minute. They take him over quick. Homeboy doesn't get anywhere. They, you know, remove the top of the head there, the top of the scalp, and that's it for him. Then they go back to the four that have been unalived before and take all those scalps. Then we have one. There's three who. Hold on a second. Make sure I got the numbers right here. There are three Teamsters left. They are sorry. Okay, I got the math screwed up. Not the best at math. Now there are four Teamsters left, and three of them managed to get away. One more is dragged down and then dragged back to the wagon. It sounds like he was injured by an arrow when he was running away. He's dragged back to the wagon, and I've only heard the Apache doing this, but this is the account that we get of the aftermath. He can't move, he can't run away, so the Kiowa tie him to the wheels of one of the wagons, and they continue to raid everything. They take everything that they need from the wagons, or everything they want from the wagons, right? They take all the horses, they take all the beasts of burden and all the animals that they can. And then with this guy still tied to the wagon wheel and presumably still bemoaning his fate, right? Wailing and crying and all this terrible stuff. They light the wagon on fire and then just leave. So this poor guy is left to kind of roast with the wagons, and the remaining three survivors make their way back to Fort. They make their way to Fort Griffin, and they have lost all of the wagons, 40 horses and mules, and obviously 7 of their guys. This report goes directly to Colonel Ranald McKenzie, who just has his ire up immediately, right? And wants to go out and attack immediately. This is kind of the early iterations of his fighting style on the plains. He wants to go attack right now, and he's held back by his commanding officers. And it's just kind of a frustration point for Ranald McKenzie, and you can see him kind of stored away, or you can feel him, maybe is the more apt adjective, apt verb, whatever, storing it away as a kind of fuel for the war to come. Let's see if I'm missing anything. Really, guys? It's just kind of like a short, horrific frontier story. I can show you here. It's like, I don't know if I can bring the Kindle up. It would take up like one page on the entire book or in the entire book, but that's kind of why I thought it was fascinating, because it's so understated. It's 3 paragraphs in total, and inside those 3 paragraphs is a horrific story. Like, they tied this guy to a wagon wheel and lit the wagon wheel on fire. What's that Denzel Washington where he ties the guy to the car? The Denzel Washington movie? I'm blanking on it right now. But he ties the guy to the car and then just walks off and the car explodes. It's like the frontier version of that. It's imagine if that happened now, or it's something like you would hear about in cartel violence and stuff like that. And it's just a little footnote. It's one story out of dozens that are here, just dozens and dozens of stories. And it would be like the worst thing if it happened in your neighborhood. It would be the worst thing. Man on Fire is the name of that movie. What's up, Elite Super Grunt? Man on Fire. It's a very Man on Fire moment. They just tie him to the wheel and then they set it on fire and then they leave. So it's a horrific story. And to me, it's even more illustrative of how violent Texas was because of how brief it is in the book. It's just one little story. They mention the man named Mr. Nolan and his we're talking about 10 other entire lives here. 10 other guys just out there trying to make a living. And yes, the Kiowa are just out there trying to defend their homelands. And this entire melee would have been the most horrific thing. I would hope it would be the most horrific thing that most of you have ever seen in your life. Takes up 3 paragraphs in this entire book. So it really speaks to how common it was and how used to it people were, and how prolific it was. It just it's I think a unique state on the frontier, even amongst states that are whose history is awash in stories like this. I think Texas is the most brutal among them, and I think it shines light on the Kiowa operating. There's no operating autonomously, because there's no mention of Comanches or any other tribe being with them in this band. So it really speaks to how they Kiowa operated autonomously, like left to their own devices. This is what a Kiowa raid looks like, and it is, to our point, I think last night. They are not the tag-alongs of the Comanche. They are not like um, little brothers. Like the Comanche were like, these guys are wild, and we got to get them on our side. So they are a formidable tribe themselves, and fearful warriors, certainly. But that's kind of the entirety of the story. I thought, because it was just so brief and so understated in the book, it was kind of fascinating. We got the Kiowa there, and we have this horrific fight. We have a mention of Colonel Mackenzie and him kind of storing up some fuel in his brain for the war to come. And it's so understated in the book that it's overstated. It's like, man, this was horrific, and it just takes up a little tiny piece of it. So highly encourage you guys to read that. That's kind of it for the coffee chat story. But again, I don't know, I think it's even more brutal because it's so short. Let's see. Oh, $5 super chat from Terry R. Tied to the wagon wheel, and they set the wagon on fire. So cruel. It's not nice. We can certainly say that. It is. It's just so rough. It's such a. I don't think we have any context for how crazy it was. Kenneth Madden, bro, you do an excellent job. Having done research like this on Native Americans, I can say reliable sources are rare, so I appreciate your efforts. Perfect delivery too. Kenneth Maddox, man. That's the first time I think I've seen you here, and that's such a nice comment. Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming by. Terry R says your Magic Keycast YouTube appearance was fun to watch. He's doing a great job over there. Yeah, you know what? Before I get out of here, I'll post a link to that too. I did my first ever interview with Magic Keycast. We did a really cool interview on the history of Davy Crockett and his impact on modern culture and Disney. Magic Keycast is a really cool Disney channel. I've never even been to Disneyland, but it's a great channel. It's an entertaining one, and I had a fun time doing the interview. Guys, we got 24 people here and 15 likes. So if you're in here and haven't hit the like button, it's free of charge. Make sure you do it, because it helps us get this out there to the people. Let's see. Nick Sweeney says, hello, Terry R. I got my eyes on you. You got to keep an eye on him. Got to keep an eye on him, Nick Sweeney. Elite Super Grunt in the movie Man on Fire, Denzel's character blows up the guy with a small explosive in his. Yes, that's true. I forgot about that. That's a brutal move, man. Let's see. Pet Detective says late arrival. That's okay. I was late today too, so no problem. Bamadiana, you're going to have a grandchild. Right on. Great to hear. Congratulations. That's awesome. Arizona Boy says, I'm late over here waiting for the stream to start, and I'm 15 minutes late. Egg on my face. Arizona Boy, it's totally cool, man. I was caught in traffic this morning, so I had to push the stream back to 12:30 Eastern. So no problem, man. Coffee chats are a little more casual anyways. Artemio Moore says, or Artemio Moore, sorry. I know gruesome, but also didn't the Kiowa shove Britt Johnson? Whether they put it in, whether they actually, how can I say that for the TOS? Whether they actually, man, I don't even think I can say that without getting in trouble. So whether they actually did that to Britt Johnson's dog. If you're not familiar, Britt Johnson's a famous cowboy who was an ex-slave, became a famous cowboy on the frontier, actually went and rescued his family from being kidnapped by the Comanche. He was surrounded by the Kiowa on a resupply trip with 2 other cowboys, and he fought like a madman. They found shells all around him. It was Like the fight he must have put up must have been unfathomable. Like it was hours long, and he was just a bad dude. But they found his dog, his loyal dog, and the story goes that they either crudely placed the dog within the unfortunate alive person's o- mm, cavity, like torso, let's say that, or that they unscalped the poor animal himself. Either way, one of the two happened. I'm not sure which, or possibly both, because there's conflicting accounts. But yeah, rough, right? Like you got to really have some deep seated enmity to carry that out. Yikes. Um, let's see. Okay. In the movie Man on Fire, we got that. I've never guessed Mr. HOKC to be a Disney loving moon landing believer. Well, don't worry, because I've never been to Disneyland, and you know, the Van Allen radiation belt is pretty tough to get through, if you ask me. And it's awful odd that my cell phone signal drops out today, but we somehow bounced a call from the moon to Australia to Houston and broadcast it on the live for the entire world. But you know, crazy things happen, I suppose. Let's see here. Let's see. Any questions about the story? I know it's pretty short, but I can fill in any questions that you have. And then we have a Mountain Man Massacre episode coming, hopefully tonight. I'm waiting to hear back from the editor, but if not tonight, then tomorrow for sure. And then we'll have our regular stream this evening. I think I got some pretty cool stuff worked out for this evening. I'm learning about I'm learning a lot about Indians in Texas. That's for sure, says Happy Cappy. And if you don't have the book Happy Cappy, I highly recommend picking up a copy of Indian Depredations in Texas. It's a it's a must have. You got to have it if you're interested in Texas history. Happy Cappy says I have 9 grandkids. That's fantastic. That's what it's all about. Let's see. Okay, I think I'm caught up on the chat. I'm just scanning through here to see real quick. Yeah, guys, I think I'm caught up. So any questions, any comments on it? Would you have you think you would have survived? The Civil War did a lot to affect plains warfare. Yeah, and this is uh what 6 years after the Civil War, so it's not that far in the rearview mirror. And it really kind of set the stage. It was one more incident that set the stage for the Red River War. Let's see. Has anybody else in here read Indian Depredations in Texas? I feel like several people have. Tokoloshi says cartridge weapons. Yeah, the entire battlefield has changed, especially after the Civil War, because of the weaponry that's now available. And a lot of the officers, at least, are experienced officers. There was a real dearth in enlistments, understandably, after the Civil War, as there usually is after major wars. I was going to make a joke about you taking me. Um, I was going to make a joke about you taking the "We Ride at Dawn" thing I said last night, and seriously, and then got caught in traffic. Then I'm the one who's late. Hey, man, you know what I mean? It's uh, get the plank out of your own eye first, right? Before you uh, worry about the splinter in mine or something like that. But yeah, I was caught in traffic, man. Once you're stuck on the 35, you're kind of stuck unless things start moving. Let's see. I think okay. I keep checking back, but I think we're caught up. I think everyone thinks about how they'd handle themselves in those moments, says Mike Holtz, and then based on many variables to include the weapons on both sides, it had to be unreal. Yeah, it would be, and it would just be kind of an unavoidable job hazard, right? Like it's like you almost any job that you had out there, you'd have to worry about attacks of some kind. And on the converse side, on the flip side of that coin, almost anything the tribes are doing at this point, Comanche, Kiowa, Cheyenne, Apache will be a little bit later, but Apache 2, no, Apache 2. It seems like everything they do, nothing that they do works. It doesn't stop this encroachment. It doesn't stop the settlers from coming, and they are just more and more understandably desperate. They were uh, coalescing or uniting with other tribes that used to be enemies, the Comanche and the Cheyenne, and the Kiowa, the Cheyenne. There was a lot more alliances of necessity coming about in the late 1860s, 1870s, because they felt just as frustrated as the American settlers. It was like nothing we do stops this influx, and they had an idea that it was just going to be this almost seemingly unlimited supply of people pouring in. And we talked about this a couple nights ago. It was the tribes being limited to the populations that they had, which were already pretty small. We're talking, I don't know, maybe 20,000 for the Comanche at this point, maybe. And uh, gosh, less than half that for the Kiowa, maybe a little bit more than that for the Cheyenne, um, far less than that for the Arapaho. The numbers are stagnating and then going down for all of these tribes. Their birth rates are low because they're a horsebound culture. Miscarriage rates are high, and it's hard to, even using adoption, it's hard to fill your population out. Meanwhile, millions of immigrants are pouring into Ellis Island every year, and they're going to have to go somewhere. Many of them are going to continue on west. So it was just you're it's an almost impossible battle to keep trying to stabilize or grow your population while your opponent has just, like I said, seemingly unlimited supplies of people pouring into their population. The lack of reinforcements is scary. Yeah, it'd be real scary. I've been in some sticky situations as Arizona boy, but I will say this: I wouldn't want to run into some angry tribesmen who don't want me there. No, I would not either. I would not either. And like, not to belabor the point, but it's like they justifiably don't want me there, and it's not my place. But a lot of these immigrants on the other side of that coin had nowhere else to go. They couldn't afford any land back home. Or if they were from a farming culture, they certainly couldn't afford a farming plot back in the east of the United States. So it was just a perfect storm of sorts to create the mess we had in the 19th century, late 19th century. You just explained the 2023 southern border. Not it's not completely disanalogous. Says Derek Boodle. Oh, good to see you, Derek Boodle. Lever Action 3. I don't think I've seen you in here before. Let's not forget. Yeah, good point. Let's not forget about how the government would lie to these people and tell them everything was okay and not let them know about the peril. Oh, yeah, that was kind of on both sides, on the settlers' side, and then they would, continuously break treaties with the native tribes. And it is, I'm the first to say it's a much more nuanced situation than most people understand today. But it's not, that's a point not to be missed, as there was a lot of government lies here on both sides, as far as misinforming the settlers that it wasn't going to be that dangerous where they were going because they wanted to keep pushing expansion westward. And a lot of the settlers were their vanguard for that. And also, yeah, just constantly breaking treaties. Let's see. Okay. What's the difference between Kiowa and Kiowa Apache, Sean Wellen? I have to look into that a little more, but I think the Kiowa Apache are uh, completely different tribe, to my understanding. But let me look that up a little bit more. That's one of those things I don't want to comment on fully and stick my foot in my mouth. My Colt says, I'm a pretty boy Air Force bomb tech, been to Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria. Wow. But had many guys having our back if I got rowdy. However, back then it was like it was just you and a handful of people, no reinforcements. Yeah, no comms or anything, no radio, no nothing. You're just out there on your own. So in this case, you had 11, 12 guys in the middle of nowhere, and then they get jumped by 90 to 100 Kiowa, which is a lot of Kiowa. Um, your chances are not good. See. Yeah, no reinforcement. I think it's, to me, when I think about it's like communication is maybe the biggest one, where it's like you can't call in reinforcements and they can't get there for a couple hours. It's like you are in the middle of nowhere, guys. It's yeah, I wouldn't go. Let's see. Oh wow, Marcus Aurelius, a gifted History at the OK Corral membership. Thank you so much, man. Derek Boodle gets the gifted membership. Thank you. Welcome to the club, Derek Boodle. That's awesome, guys. Thank you so much for all. You guys have been so helpful with all the support. It is, and I'm gonna figure out how to turn this beeping on my watch off one of these days. But truly, like it is, we're seeing the stream really grow. So that is fantastic. I got you, dog. I got you, dog. Thanks, man. Kiowa Apache are a very small tribe who are linked up with the Kiowas way up in Montana. Okay. Apache migrated from Alaska around the time of the Crusades. Right, I do know that. Yeah, they came from the Northwest. The Kiowa, I believe, came from the Northwest as well. Let me look that up. I'm going to say that and then look stupid. Let's see. But I will look that up. I got it written down. Um, but I do like the banter. I am college graduate of Hillside College on U.S. history. Oh, right on me. You got the same credentials that I do. I try to say like I'm not a history authority. I'm a guy. I'm a conduit. Right? I just bring these conversations up, and then I learn a lot here in the chat too. But hopefully, I can turn you guys on to some cool books and videos and stuff. The Kiowa came from Montana, Canada. Okay, they didn't come from the Northwest, huh? That's why I didn't. I don't want to. I don't anything I don't actually know about. Tread lightly until I do know. Okay, got that. But I do think we talked about this a couple times. The Kiowa don't get their due, man. Hopefully, we can tell some more Kiowa stories and remedy that. The Cheyenne speak the dialect of the same language the Apache and Navajo do. I didn't know that. Okay. I did not know that. That's the first I've heard of that. Let's see. Um, the lack. Okay, got that. Just catching up on the chat real quick, guys. Okay. All right. I think we're caught up. Cool. They lived near the Black Hills. For a few generations, they made good buddies with the Crow. The Cheyenne did. I do. I know they came eastward, went westward. Guys, how do I talk about this all the time, and I mix up my easts and wests. Um, Kicking Bird was part Crow. Algonquin. Oh, the Kiowa guys. The Cheyenne, the Navajo, and the Apache. You're saying no? Who are you saying has the Algonquin-based language? Arizona boy. Cheyenne or Algonquin. Okay, I didn't know that. That's one thing people really misunderstand in studying the tribes is they think the tribes that we encountered, but the tribes that encountered Anglos, where they encountered them was where they had always been, and that's a massive misunderstanding. It's where they most recently were. The Sioux or the Lakota had come out from the Great Lakes. The Blackfoot had come out from the Great Lakes. The Kiowa had come down from the North, Canada. The Comanche had come down from the northern reaches of the Rockies and like up in Wyoming and up north of there. Navajo, Apache had come down from the Northwest. And this is over centuries, but yeah, we really think, oh, well, the Apache were always in the Southwest. It's like, no, even that's pretty recent. That's the 1700s. Kiowa speak a Uto Aztecan language. I did know that. I knew that. I thought the Apache are Athabascan. Yeah, no, that's Northwest though, right? Or Alaska area. I'm saying Northwest is like a pretty wide region, I guess. Let's see. They are Athabascan. The Apache. Let's see. Got a lot pouring into the chat right now. Lever Action says, I've learned a lot listening to your side of things and the history that you bring. I enjoy tremendously. Thanks, man. And I grew up in a very historical part of the United States in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Oh, right on. Isn't that where? Oh no, I was trying to think where Guns N' Roses were. Axl Rose is from, but that's Lafayette, Indiana. Indiana has a ton of history. And where is the Jacksons from? I'm blanking on it right now. The Navajo language is supposed to sound beautiful. Other tribes sang their songs because they sounded so nice. Oh, interesting. Arizona boy. Okay, wait. Navajo and Apache are Athabascan. Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Kiowa. Okay, we got that. I thought the Apache are Athabascan. Okay, we covered that. I think we're caught up. Athabascan comes from north central Alaska. I was thinking Alaska. And when I'm saying, oh, Northwest, I guess I'm thinking of it as like the continent. It's like, yeah, the Northwest part of North America. Jackson 5 is Gary, Indiana. Thanks, man. Thank you, Kenneth Maddox. Let's see. The Navajo language is okay. Got that. What a wild place for the Jackson 5 to be from. Other side of the state, but yeah, he was a Hoosier. Okay. I need to learn more about Indiana. A very dense state. You guys have a lot of history, a lot of schools, a lot of stuff going on. The Kiowa are definitely not given their due, says Josh McAllister. Yeah, someone was saying a couple nights ago that they are like the little brothers or like the little brother who the Comanche let be on their pickup basketball team. Like, okay, fine, we'll let you play with us. It's like, no, no, no. They were a really good player. And the Comanche were like, okay, come play with us. First time catching a live, says McLean Garrett. McLean Garrett. Gotcha. Great videos listening from the Alamo City. Right on, man. We're just up the road. Just up the road. We need to do a live stream from the Alamo. That's on my to-do list. Thanks for tuning in, though, man. Great to have you. Comanche followed. I'm not sure what that means, guys. Josh McAllister. The Pueblo were in New Mexico and Arizona. Yeah, and they were there for a long time, right? Not forever, but the Pueblo have been there for a long time. Apache and Navajo kicked a lot of the Pueblo people out, right? That's what I heard. But the Pueblo were the tribe who were in the I always forget the name of this, the revolt, the Pueblo revolt. Yeah, the Pueblo revolt in New Mexico, which changed everything. I think Old West history can be marked before and after the Pueblo revolt. Same thing as the Ute. Okay. I think I'm caught up. These chats come in fast, but I think I'm caught up. Okay. Any questions about our upcoming Mountain Man Massacre episode? I think we'll have another Mountain Man story tonight. I'm thinking another selection from Isaac P. Rose's 4 Years in the Rockies, but I don't know yet. We'll kick that idea around. And the Mountain Man Massacres episode, I think you guys will like. And then we have a Texas Ranger one after that. And then our sleep episodes. And how, Marcus Aurelius, how are the Kiowa cool with the Comanche? Is that what you're saying? Clear that up a little bit, and then I don't want to answer the wrong question. Let's see. They were in the southwestern region of America for thousands of years. You're talking about the Pueblo until Navajo and Apache came south and took over. Yeah, because we have all their ruins from eons ago, right? And a very complex, advanced civilization. They had whole cities set up and running. It's on my bucket list, the Alamo, says Lever Action. I've been to Texas a few times, but mostly on business. You should go, man. If you enjoy history, it is underwhelming is not the word because it's a very heavy place. It's it has a gravity to it, certainly. But when you see it and you're expecting this big formidable building, or it's such an iconic piece of architecture in American history, you expect it to be bigger than it is. And then when it sinks in how small it is, it's even more terrifying to imagine being one of the defenders. It doesn't have the whole compound. It would be a larger compound then than it is today. But it's like, man, you guys stayed here. You just stayed here and fought against thousands of troops. You're crazy. Which, yeah, when people argue that they didn't know it was that they were not going to make it out, I just think you had to have. You couldn't have thought you were going to hold this place. And I understand there's many instances in history where, a smaller force held up a much larger force with an entrenched position. But this is an entrenched position in the middle of the city. Like they were surrounded. There was nowhere to escape to. Even like Thermopylae, I know that most of those guys didn't make it. The 300 didn't make it, but they're fighting, defending a pass. So yeah, it's millions or hundreds of thousands of Persians, but they're at the very end of this little funnel. They're not surrounded by them. So I think every Texan or everyone at the Alamo knew they weren't going to make it. You should have live chatter. pet detectives, you should have a live chat on the Pueblo Revolt, such a pivotal battle. Yeah, I'm going to write that down. And I've thought about it before, but I need to do more. I need to get more familiarized with the topic so I don't, stick my foot in my mouth. But yes, absolutely. We need to do one. I need to do an episode on it. That will fit into an episode. Sometimes it's hard to decide who it's going to be versus who, like Pueblo natives versus Spanish governor or something. Because they caught the governor and they popped his little old cranium off, man. Because they were tired of it. The Pueblo weren't necessarily a terribly warlike or bellicose tribe, but they were tired of it. You pushed them too far. Oh, Brandon, did you see the link I sent you via the email campsite of the Kiowa near my? Yeah. I think I saw we talked about it on the. No, I guess I haven't seen the email. I'll go check it again. I've had to do a bunch of stuff the last couple days. Having to like re-up the insurance and stuff too. Pain in the ass. You should. Okay. It's on the Buffalo. Okay, bucket list. Sorry, guys. I try not to read these out loud as I'm talking, but it's a bad habit. Kiowa and Comanches were deadly enemies until 1790 when a war party of each tribe ended up at a Mexican's place that they were both friends with. Yep. Yeah, they were pretty serious enemies for a while. And then the Comanche, I think, also are more. I know this channel, yes, we're guilty of purveying the image of the Comanche as a war machine, but they were a war machine. You can't oversell it. But what gets undersold is the Comanche skill in diplomacy and in business. Um, I think they were not just pragmatic, but they had a real proclivity, a real penchant for being able to make alliances that made sense, alliances with tribes that they trusted, being able to make business deals with people that they trusted, specifically the Comancheros. But they weren't going to be so combative that they would cost themselves money, time, territory, lives. That wasn't the business they were in. They were just in the business of taking land, keep not even purposely building an empire, but they were in the business of keeping people out of their territory and making the lives of their people as best as they could, like anybody else. But you did not want to piss them off. Alamo shows us the stamina and grit and the fortitude that Americans have performed throughout our history. True, yeah, and it also shows you can go in and look at the list of the people who fought in the battle and obviously did not make it. And there's so many German immigrants. There's a couple German immigrants, Irish immigrants, Tejanos, Mexican citizens who had come over to the Texian side. There's a big conglomeration of different backgrounds that came together to fight for one common cause. And it is inspiring. Like there's a real, at least a couple of years ago, there was a real trend. It was a real trendy thing with that book, Forget the Alamo. It was a trendy thing to downplay the importance of it or the bravery of the guys who stayed. And I think it just screams so much ignorance. And we understand there's lots of geopolitics behind the rationale of them being there. None of us are stupid, right? Like it's just, they tried to sell this idea that it was just a, let's say, unadmirable thing or a yeah, let's just say that. But it's I think it's irresponsible history. It's clickbait history. It's lazy. It's sensationalist, and it's insubstantiable in the grand scheme of things. People are going to find that out. They're going to know that you're just trying to sell them a book, and I think it's coming back to that. But that I hated to see that when it became so in vogue to critique the Alamo. Doesn't mean everyone there was perfect, but they're brave men. You can't say they weren't brave men. The mountain men must have had been scared when they saw native warriors. They did look fierce, says Sean Welling. The mountain men called the Blackfoot, who is the tribe they were pretty universally the most frightened of, or the most, yeah, frightened is a good word. They called him Beelzebub, like the devil. Like they would have kind of colloquial nicknames for everybody. We talked about Caleb being the colloquial nickname for the grizzly bear, and they would call the Blackfoot Beelzebub because that was one tribe you did not. They talk in their journals about the Arikara, and they talk about the Crow. They talk about the Cree and other tribes that are up in that area, the Assiniboine. But they don't mention anybody in the same terms as the Blackfoot. They are terrified of the Blackfoot, and so many of their friends were taken by the Blackfoot. And it's you when you read the journals, you know for sure who the tribe they're most afraid of is. Let's see. The Kiowa were far more structured and organized than the Comanche. Yes, they did sun dances. They had graded warrior societies, hereditary chiefs, a heraldry of teepees, a heraldry system of their teepees, war shields and a way to paint for wars. Yes, they had. They also had basketry and weaving and beadwork that the Comanche just like they weren't interested in. It wasn't that they weren't capable of it; they just didn't give a crap. Let's see. They had a super pragmatic theology and worldview. It's not as simplistic as I think sometimes it's portrayed, and it evolved later in the 19th century. But yeah, they were just like, we don't care, bro. We don't really care where we came from. We know that we're here and we're kicking ass right now, and that's all we really care about, generally speaking. I think it's gross to erase history, Arizona Boy says. We don't have to agree with what happened, but we have to know about it. Correct. Or how else are you going to prevent it from happening? History that is silence is history that rhymes. Yeah, it means it's going to happen again. Let's see. The Kiowa were more warlike than the Comanche, in my opinion, says Josh McAllister. They'd raid all the way to the Yucatan. Yeah, I mean, I've seen Comanche accounts of raiding into the Yucatan too, but like the Kiowa were always down to go. And to be fair, it's like, well, if you have a bigger tribe who wants to fight all the time and if you have one, let's take it into one person. If you have one big guy who wants to fight most of the time and one he likes to fight a lot, and then a smaller guy who also likes to fight a lot, you'd say the smaller guy is a little more aggressive because it's like, bro, you're not even that big. And he's just like, I don't care. I want to fight. Yeah, you could say that he's in essence more aggressive. Let's see. Okay, we got that. Okay, there's a lot of chats rolling through. So if I miss yours, I'll go back and try to see it, but no offense intended. Oh, okay. The Alamo is one of the four olds, engineer says. I'm not sure what that means. Tommy Johnson. What's up, Tommy Johnson? White Horse, most dangerous man on the Texas frontier. I don't know that I know that name. I'll write it down. White Horse. Who are you more afraid of running into, the Comanche or the Kiowa, says Thomas Cloak. Good to see you, Thomas Cloak. Both. That's what I would say. Clay Owen. What's up, Clay? I think that's the first time I've seen you here. Did the warlike tribes have a specific physical training regimen to stay in fight shape? The tribe that I've seen had the most structured version of this is the Apache, where they would send their young warriors. I've heard men and boys and girls on long runs, and they'd put like a half a cup of water in their mouth, right? Like say a cup this big. They'd put that in their mouth and they'd be forced to go run. Sometimes I've heard a couple miles, and I've heard at times all day long. In either case, they had to come back when they got back to the village and spit that amount of water into the cup. It's really smart. It's a way of promoting pacing and nasal breathing. It's and discipline. It's a smart thing to do. They would lift rocks. They would wrestle. Well, not a lot of striking, I think, just because they would injure people. But they had their own kind of catch wrestling submission system. They lift rocks, logs. So yes, the Apache specifically, I think almost all tribes had some means of informal training, and that could take the form of games, right? Like uh, shooting small birds with blunted arrows, or shooting at hoops. Lots of target practice, lots of horseback riding, lots of wrestling. But the Apache have the most formalized system that I've seen. And if you are into that subject, which I'm hugely into, like historical training regimens, like the Spartans, the Romans, the Knights Templar, whatever, I think it's all fascinating. Wild Hunt Conditioning on YouTube. That guy's such a badass. He does such great history and goes into all these historical training methods. And he's run like, I don't know, 800 miles. I think literally 800 miles he just ran this summer. So he's a bad dude too. And he's deadlifts 500 pounds. That's such a cool channel. Great history. and a great mix of those two subjects. I feel it's egregious how our educational department has eliminated history from its agenda, says Lever Action. Yeah, I think so. I'm glad that it didn't happen when I was in high school because at least now people can get online and look up stuff on YouTube. So it's the best of times and it's the worst of times for history. Big Bo was one of the most revered warriors of his time. I don't know that name either. Are these Comanche names? These are very elegant Comanche names. Big Bo. Okay. Um, Engineer, thanks for clarifying this. The four olds, I've never heard of that, are old ideas, old culture, old customs, and old habits. It's history rhyming again. Never heard of four olds, man. Thank you. Four olds. Okay, we got that. Oh yeah, says Pennsylvania Plowboy says, thanks for my YouTube feed being full of bears now. Yeah, if you weren't here for our last night's episode, we watched some polar bear attacks, which were highly entertaining. No one was hurt, but it was a scary video. And I was looking it up last night, Pennsylvania Plowboy. Apparently, the Kodiak can be considered the biggest bear. I think they like weigh more in on average, but the largest bear recorded is a polar bear. So I think there's some gray area there. Either way, I don't want to run into either one of them. White horse, yes, he's a BMF. All right, I'm even going to make a note next to his name, BMF. Did the war like tribes? Okay, we got that. But yeah, Clay Owen, dude, go check out Wild Hunt Conditioning. You'll love that. Let's see. Finding where I'm at in the chat here. Guys, thanks so much for contributing. We got a lot of chats. Short man syndrome, little man trying to hold up. I'm not sure. Not sure what that means. Satank was the baddest of the bad, head of the Katsoteka for 50 plus years. Satank or Satanta? I'll write that down just to be sure. Satank. Okay. Happy Cappy says, I tell my grandkids like it was. That's good. That's good. And I was really interested in history as a kid, and if I had YouTube, I would have been able to more effectively educate myself for sure. Okay, Big Bo is a Kiowa guy. I gotcha. We've talked about this before, but yeah, when I hear names like that, I go, I don't know if that's Comanche because Comanche have like just just crude names sometimes, and I mean that in like a uh, admir from a place of admiration. But it's like, yeah, some of their names are a little rough. Where like other tribes will have like Charging Bull or like you said, Big Bow or White Horse, and Comanche names are just like Stink or whatever, Stinker or Coyote Private Parts, etc. Derek, let's see. I love listening to your show, says Clay Owen. Whenever I'm driving or at home, just relaxing. Keep up the great work, man. Thank you very much. Thanks for tuning in. That's especially why we do the live stream. So just give people something to listen to at work. Comanche horses turn the native with a bow into a machine gun. Yeah, pretty much. And I always think of it the way that they would attack in this cyclonic attack. It's like a human Gatling gun because let's say you are the person getting attacked. Unfortunately, sorry guys, but if you have a circle of warriors coming at you, and each time the closest warrior to you looses his arrow, right? This guy right here, he looses his arrow. And then the guy right behind him looses another one. And as they're circling around in this cyclone, the cyclone's getting closer to you. And the guys that are in the back here, are reloading. And as soon as they come up again, they're loosing another one. So it's this constant rate of fire. It's like a human Gatling gun. And nobody on the frontier had any way to match that firepower until the Colt Patterson and then the Walker Colt. The four olds are from Mao's Cultural Revolution. We got some Maoist rhetoric in here. Well, it's still an interesting concept. Comanche horses. Okay, we got that. We got that. Weren't the Shoshone one of the first tribes to instate horses? I'm not sure what that means, Thomas Cloak. I know it means I'm close, but I don't want to butcher the question. Can you hit me with it one more time? Um, I saw a question about the Southern Ute. The Southern Ute, Buckskin Charlie, and Ure would be a great topic. Okay. I know the Ure name. Southern Ute. Okay. Got that written down. Pennsylvania plowboy. You're talking about the largest black bear. That was the largest black bear they got, but they get huge on them islands of the coast. A lot of the fish keep them fat. That's what I was reading about the Kodiak. It's like, well, they just live in this isolated environment and eat fish all day. And they said, yeah, the black bear there were huge too. So they're just like, yeah, they're just giant monster bears. Which like, I'm not stopping there. If I'm like a Russian on a boat and I'm trying to find the Alaska coastline or a place to settle down, it's like, as soon as I get to the coast and I see this monster bear, it's like, well, clearly, guys, we're not supposed to be here, so we'll just keep on going. But I guess if you're coming from like Kamchatka, Alaska, or Russia, you are used to it. Quanah Parker, what a name for an Indian, says Thomas Cloak. Well, yeah, I mean, he wouldn't have been known as Quanah Parker his whole life, but yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting, I don't know, man, like genetic or human representation of two worlds colliding. And Quanah, I've said this before. I might catch some flack for this, but Quanah's name can mean aroma, it can mean fragrance, but it also seems like it kind of means stink, like stinker. Because that's just, it would be odd, not impossible, but it'd be kind of odd for a Comanche name to be complimentary or, I don't know, more on the elegant side. I'm trying to think of a good adjective. Usually, though, it's like stinker or um, election that will not go down. That's what buffalo hump means. They used a lot of the names that they are recorded. A lot of the names that are recorded in history are euphemisms. They're not the actual Comanche name. Let's see. You mentioned in one of your videos they only drew bows back part way. What is the reason? Rapidity of fire and draw weight. Because the draw weight, if I don't know archery that well, but the draw weight would be 90 to 100 plus pounds, maybe more. So you only need to pull. How is the angle so weird? You only need to pull the bow back about that far to send an arrow really quickly, and then you can only send out that rapid fire if you're not pulling it back all the way and taking measured shots each time. What they would do is put an arrow in between each one of their knuckles and just kind of boom, boom, boom. But yeah, the draw weight and the bow was so small, but you'd see the Mongols do the same thing. Let's see. Whereas like the average bow today, you'll see in bow hunting, I think is now like there's plenty of guys that use 90-pound draws, right? But it seems like, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but like 50, 60 pounds for a draw weight seem about right, about average. So the big compound bows that you see today, probably like half the draw weight of most Comanche bows. Weren't the Shoshone one of the first tribes to use horses for warfare? I don't know about that. I'll have to look that up. I can't confirm or deny that. Shoshone first. Let me look that up today. I'll report back to you with tonight's stream. I think the Shoshone and Utes were one of the first to get horses. Yeah, any tribe on the southern plains. Maybe the Apache, Jicaro, Mescalero. That's why the Comanche got so many, because they were way down on the southern plains. And then like the tribes that are farther north, Cheyenne, Arapaho, Blackfoot, they got them decades later. It took a while for the horse to work its way up there. Buddy was up there. My buddy was up there and got a brown bear in May, like on the Kodiak Islands, Pennsylvania plowboy. It was over 9 foot. They didn't have a good weight on it. 9 feet? Man, I'm going home, man. I'm not staying there. Let's see. The Shoshone were known on the plains for their breeding of horses methods that they use today. The only tribe that I know purposely bred, well, it would be the Nez Perce and the Comanche were the only tribes that I know of. I'll look that up though, that actually understood animal husbandry and would uh, castrate some of their stallions and stuff like that. Let's see. check out. Oh, I know Lars Anderson's Elite Super Grunt. Yeah, if you're interested in archery at all and you want to see a great representation of how the Comanche would have used their bows, Lars Anderson on YouTube is an archery specialist, a trick shot specialist, but he does a great job. He'll do all kinds of fancy trick shots and stuff, but also say like he'll also show you this is how the Mongols and the Comanche would have used their bow, and it's fascinating to watch. He does it. He's good at it, and he does it so fast. And it's a great representation of somebody of how familiar the Comanche and Mongols and everybody else would have been with that shooting style that it's terrifying to watch. You're like, whoa, what if you had hundreds of this guy and they're riding at you on full speed, shooting this many arrows? That's like, it is amazing that anybody survived several of these fights. Mm, let's see. Can you guys hear the neighbor dog going nuts? I don't know what he's upset about now. He usually waits till 5 o'clock or so. So must be something upsetting him. Did the Comanche just steal horses of the Apache? That's how they got so many and became so good riding horses. Partially, yeah, they'd steal a lot of them. And a lot of them just got loose and wandered around or were kind of found wandering around. But yeah, they stole most of them. Crazy Horse was actually his father's name. His name was Curly. Yep. His father went ahead and gave him the name because of his, yeah, once he kind of started proving himself. I've heard accounts, lever action, maybe you know more about this than I do, that he was similar to Quanah, was actually mixed race because his hair was supposed to be really light and curly, which is why he was named Curly. Elite Super Grunt says he trained to shoot off the side of a horse. Yeah, that's another thing. Like they wouldn't just shoot from the top of the horse. They would slide down to the side underneath the horse's neck and loose their arrows from there. It's amazing. You can see videos of people doing it. It's like, how's that even possible? If you've ever ridden a running horse, it seems like, well, that's not possible, especially with no saddle or stirrups. And they were making it happen. They went from being, imagine like they went from being never even seeing a horse. They didn't know the horse existed. People would say, "Oh, the horse was here. It was here in Paleolithic era." It's like, yeah, that's cool, nerd. But like, no offense. I'm just saying, like, yeah. There were no horses though. Were there horses before in North America? Yes, there were. Fine, like millions or hundreds of thousands of years ago, supposedly. But the tribes had never even heard of a horse. They go from never even hearing of them, to being probably the best light cavalry in the world a couple hundred years later. So it's like going from a tribe that's never heard of a car to being the best F1 team in the world a couple decades later. It'd be a good approximation for what happened there. Let's see. He Derek Boodle says Crazy Horse is now called mentally ill horse. It's politically correct. I like that. Wasn't Custer related to native tribes, Thomas Cloak? I have never heard that. I could look into that. We, you know, uh, incorporated a lot of their fashion with the long hair, and that was during the Civil War too. But the implication in the long hair is from Plains warfare in many respects. It's saying, "I have this long hair. Look at my nice scalp here. I dare you to come take it." It's pretty cool. Replaced by a neurodivergent horse. Yeah, well, that's a mouthful, but it's kind of catchy. Arizona boy says that's cool, nerd. That about took me out. Look, I'm not anti-science, right? It's just like every history show on the History Channel devolved into this, like, well, now we're gonna do an experiment on this pig body. We're gonna shoot arrows into this target. It's like this pig carcass to see like how far does it penetrate. It's like, well, who cares, dude? You're missing the point of the story here. How far can this samurai sword cut? It's like, I don't know, dog. I'm guessing pretty far. I'm guessing it cuts pretty far. You know what I mean? If the Comanche were to battle the Sioux, who would win? Sioux are a much larger tribe. I mean, the Sioux is kind of an umbrella tribe, and then underneath that are the Lakota, the Dakota, the Nakota. So if you had all of them against the Comanche, I don't know, man. That's a lot of numbers. The largest horses that have ever lived were from North America. I get it, engineer. I get it, but they just weren't around. The tribes had no idea they existed. Three-toed horses were smaller, and it's believed that they died out due to human predation. Well, I don't know, man. It sucks to suck, you know? The Comanche broke off from the Shoshone during the northern migration. I think it would have been a southern migration, but yeah, the Comanche were a Shoshone offshoot way up in the Rockies, and they were just beaten down. Oh, they were a whipping boy for everybody. And so eventually they were just like, okay, we're out of here. But that was before the horse came, so they hadn't found the horse yet. They were just trying to get out of Dodge. Uh, I almost forgot. I changed my movie pick to, yeah, okay, South of Heaven, West of Hell with Dwight Yoakam. Okay. Um, hmm, can you can you email me that by any chance, Bamadana? So I don't mess it up. So I have like a, it's actually in my email and not in my notebook. Or you can just keep reminding me. But yeah, cool. We can do that. So, South of Heaven. At least make a little note here. Let's see. But well, that'll be Saturday. Oh yeah, we're doing a double feature. So it'll be Happy Cappy's movie first, the Alamo on Saturday, and then Sunday we'll do Bama Deanna's pick. So a double feature weekend coming up. That'll be fun. The bow they used to shoot from the horses was much like the Mongols, a shorter bow, absolutely, with a much tighter draw and a longer arrow, absolutely. And the Comanche also incorporated long lances, like 12, 14-foot lances. I didn't really understand this till a couple years ago. They had gotten that idea, everybody, we get it. Everybody knows they had spears and they had, you know, longish spears, but this super long spear came from the Spanish with the ciboleros. The Spanish had their own kind of units of buffalo hunters in northern New Mexico called ciboleros. Somebody correct me on that. My Spanish is serviceable, but not that good. It's weird when if I go to like Mexico, it's been a long time, but as soon as I'm there, I can speak like decent Spanish and I come back and like I forget everything. Bama says, yes, I will pay for rental if required. No, we can get it. We'll see if it's free on YouTube. And if not, then don't worry about it. Happy to watch it, Bama. Sounds like a good time. Let's see. Didn't the Comanche used to get the same treatment they gave to others when they were a much smaller tribe? Basically, yeah. And they were just tired of it. I mean, we say, "Oh, they were the whipping boy." It's like, no, they took that. There's a real brutality to that. Like they were almost wiped out. They were constantly living under threat of raiding. They were constantly having people taken, constantly having their stuff taken, their lands taken by other tribes. This is well before any European contact. The Comanche also put well before most European contact, but they wouldn't have had any European contact yet. The Comanche also put hooks on the end of their spears to pull enemy riders off their horses. I've heard that. I don't know how standard that was, but yeah, some of them did, which is wild. I'm going to Mexico in March as Arizona boy. Looking forward to it. Awesome, man. I like Mexico. Can't wait to see my wife's family. I like it there. I could send you a link for it for free. I own the digital movie. If that works, yeah, or if you know how to do that, Bamadiana, you can email it to me. And if not, we can just rent it. It's never a problem. Let's see. I've never seen that movie, Bamadiana, so I'm looking forward to it. Let's see. I think I'm relatively caught up here. So if I missed your chat, put it in there again, and I'll try and catch it. Oh wow, we're already at an hour. Cool. Time flies when you're having fun. We had some Squidbilly fans in here, right? There's a quote from Squidbillies where he says, don't time fly when you're drunk as hell." Now, I'm not drunk, but I love that quote. Damn it, Deanna. I don't know how, but I will figure it out. Yeah, if you can figure it out, great. If you can't figure it out in like 5 minutes, then don't worry about it and I'll rent it. Let's see here. That'll be fun though. I'm looking forward to a double feature weekend. Elite Super Grunt says Early Kyler. Is that who you're talking about? Early Kyler? Mexico is tight, says Arizona boy. We almost moved down there about a year ago. Dude, everybody, you gotta watch out for getting sick. A lot of people get sick in Mexico and stuff. So I get that. I mean, I would watch on my trip there. I watched out for that just because, you know, something to watch out for. But I've never had a bad time. I love Mexico. I love the people there. Yeah, I don't know, man. Love it down there. Me, Squidbillies, Bamadiana. Yeah, I thought you'd watch Squidbillies. I don't know if you remember that quote, but I love that quote. The Tuscaloosa two steps. I love all. Yeah, absolutely. I love all of Early's hats too. Early is the name of the dad in the show. Elite Super Grunt. Early Kyler. And if you grew up out in the country, you know at least one guy that is literally early Kyler. It's so funny how they nailed that character with a squid. Let's see. I'm scrolling through the chat, guys, trying to see if I missed anybody's name. Engineer Kai Teke's name was a euphemism for cat consumer. If we you have to bridge some gaps there with what I'm saying, but a cat consumer, an eater of cats. Did the Comanche just steal horses? Okay, got that. Um, Arizona boy says I was there for 3 weeks and never got sick. Yeah, I'm just kind of throwing that in that like obligatory uh, vacation to Mexico warning we always hear. It was in the hood of Mexico too, not in the tourist areas. I was the only white boy in the whole town. That's the story of my life, bro. That's but it's I don't know, man. I've always just had a good time in Mexico, and lots of good friends there. Lots of good friends' families there. Well, at least the town we were in. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody. I've never been sick there. I'm just that's the one thing I've always watched out for because I don't want to be sick in a place that I love. I am sick right now, says Elite Super Grunt. I got the flu. Man, oh, that sucks, dude. I know stuff is going around. Anytime I hear somebody behind me in the line at the grocery store coughing, I go like, come on, bro. Get it together. It's not 2020. Uh, okay, I think. Like I said, if I missed your chat, just toss one in right now. Repeat it right now, and I'll see it. Josh McAllister. Well, I got a fever. A fever for more cowbell or like a fever? And yeah, get better soon, Elite Super Grunt. Fluids, vitamin C, whatever. This is not medical advice. Just saying, get well soon. The only prescription is more cowbell, says Josh McAllister. I put my pants on just like you, one leg at a time. The only difference is when I have my pants on, I make hit records. What's tonight's show, HOKC? I do not know yet. I kind of like pick through a couple topics in the afternoon and see what I think would be most interesting for the day. I don't want to be sick anywhere. A place I love has nothing to do with it, says Bama Deanna. True. I just hate being, I'm not good being sick. Let's see. Let's see here. You need some of my homemade flu medicine, says Bama Deanna. I don't think we can solicit that on the show, but it might help. It might help. Elite Supergrass says, I need a beer. Man, that always drags me back, though. I don't know. It feels, it sometimes it helps, though. Let's see. Anybody like kombucha here? I know it's a contentious drink, but I really like it. But people that don't like it really hate it. Thomas Cloak says, I'll pop back on the stream and see you guys tonight. Yeah, come on back. It'll be good, whatever it is, Thomas Cloak. I'm like the Grateful Dead for this. We don't know what we're going to play till just before the show. Yeah, come back, dude. It's always good seeing you. It'll be like 2 in the morning your time, but it'll be worth it. Billy Bob says, you need a whiskey, Elite. Sweat it out. Oh, that's Old West stuff. We're dedicated Old West aficionados here, aren't we? Though, I mean, there are antimicrobial aspects to whiskey, I believe. I just saw a recent like study or whatever video of these people taking bacteria and then dipping it in whiskey and then looking at it and be like, oh, it kills whiskey. It's like, thanks, guys. Glad we put our research into that. Let's see. I don't want to. Okay. I remember my parents going to visit to Mexico for vacation. They loved it. It's such a beautiful country. It really is. Hot toddies are your friend, says Happy Cappy. I've never had a hot toddy. I've heard they really help, though. Let's see. I've never had a hot toddy. I had like a sip of a Bloody Mary, and I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can do Jack straight up. I can do regular old beer, but I cannot do this. Tooties. I don't know what a tootie is. Hot toddy. Elite Super Grunt. What did somebody say? Hot tootie? That's kind of a funny thing. Let's see. A contentious or a pretentious drink, says engineer. Maybe a little bit of both. I don't know. What's really good is tepache, though. It's like a pineapple kombucha that's from Mexico. It's really good if you like that kind of thing. Honey, bourbon, and water. Happy Cappy says. Yeah, I mean, like these are all like old school remedies. There are all kinds of medication growing in the yard, like peppermint, prickly ash, and willow. Dude, yeah, I'm the more I find out about that Bamadiana, it's like, oh, this that really does work. It's not just whatever old school remedies or whatever that we think don't work today. It's like, no, people have been using this stuff for thousands of years because it works. Um, 6 a.m. bar crawl. I miss my bartenders. Man, I worked behind the bar for a long time. I miss my bartenders too. I have two kinds of mint, damage spearmint and sweet mint. Very cool. I like this kind of like revival we're in right now with holistic cures and remedies and stuff. I think it's a good thing. Let's see. I'm just checking to make sure. I'm trying to make sure I got everybody in here. And we'll start wrapping it up in a minute. That way we can all get back to the grindstone. Uh, I know how to make homeopathic remedies. I learned from an old country doctor. Nobody I would trust more than an old country doctor at this point. And I know like we all fell into the trap of modernity. And hey, man, I'm glad to live in our current times. I think it's uh, we have some of the best medicine available, but doesn't mean we should throw out the old stuff. And a lot of the medicine isn't worth a damn. So my favorite place opened at 6 a.m. It was great. The wife was pissed, but I was having a good time. I used to work at an after hours club, man, here in I would be there till I'd get off work at the bar I worked at and then go down the street to this after hours club, which is like a little speakeasy behind all this like this big corrugated metal fence and all this stuff. And it looked like nothing until you got back there and I worked the door. You had to be on the list to get in and you'd open the door and there was just hundreds of people and they'd go till I would be there till 9, 10 in the morning. I'd be there all night and they'd just be it wouldn't even stop when I would leave. I'd just tell the boss, like, okay, I gotta go, man. So I get it. There's a whole nother scene starts after 2 a.m. Medical industry, says Space Cowboy, not community. Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. People bring their animals and themselves for me to heal. I would too. I would too. I'm a believer in that kind of stuff, Bemadiana. You guys got to try the pulque. Pulque, yeah, yeah. I know of pulque engineered, but isn't that where they chew it and they spit it? That kind of thing. Let's see. Arizona boy says, I'm sure there was a lot of a certain substance flowing around that joint, the after hours club. I can neither confirm nor deny. Not with me, there wasn't. I would say that. Not with me, there wasn't. But other than that, I can neither confirm nor deny. Wham Bam. I see a Wham Bam reference, but I don't. Wham Bam, Wham Bam. Is there a Wham Bam in here? Am I missing your name here? Let's see. But am I right about that engineer? The pulque is pulque where they chew it and then spit it and it kind of ferments with the spit. Is that what I'm thinking of? Um, rum in your coffee straight from the condenser. Woo! Not right now. I'd be out for the day. Let's see here. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you know how Nick Sweeney does. He throws like he has a clever little nickname every time he's talking about somebody. So I thought maybe there's a wham bam in the chat that I'm overlooking. So yes, he's talking about you. I got you, Bama. You're a treasure to our community, Bama Deanna, says Arizona boy. I couldn't agree more. I think we all agree with that. You were one of our first listeners, Bama Deanna, first viewers here. Bama Deanna is invaluable. Couldn't agree more. Nick the Nut, says Bama Deanna. He can be a little nutty, but that's one of his best qualities. And he picks interesting movies. Without Nick Sweeney, I wouldn't have watched Paint Your Wagon. I was talking to my dad about that movie, and he was like, "We all hated that movie. Like when it came out, everyone hated it." And I was like, "Well, it's your guys' loss. It's a good movie." What are the fight nights coming back? Oh, you know what? Yeah, I need to bring those back, man. I kind of got in the reeds of everything else, and that was one of my. That was one of the. That's the most like excited I've ever been for a presentation. I think because I'm a big fight fan, and I thought these matchups between history characters were really interesting. So let's bring it back. Uh, HFC, the History Fighting Championships, because I have some matchups already set. We got to do Teddy Roosevelt versus Abraham Lincoln. So let's say right after Christmas. Let's do that. How about that? Because I got to get more stuff organized. I have to like write the fights out because how they're gonna go and everything. It doesn't take that long, but I want to make sure it's done. It's cool, and I want to get like music for sure. I had some music last time, but like better intro music and maybe like I was thinking about. One sec. I need to wear like when I'm announcing it. I thought I need to wear these like they do at the UFC, so it looks like I'm actually part of the fight team. A lot of people got nut allergies, Nick Sweeney says. Keep them away, keep them well away from me. Yeah, I used to eat a lot of nuts. I don't think I can eat as many as I used to. I got to thinking about that too. Like, well, there is, I mean, they use almonds to make cyanide. There's cyanide in the actual almonds, and I think other pit fruits as well. Because almond is I believe a pit fruit of some kind. It is the pit or something like that. I grew up around almond orchards, and they have like a big thing around them, like a big shell, and you have to crack that to get to the pit. Either way, yeah, I just thought like I don't know if I should eat like hundreds of almonds every day because that probably has some accumulation of the cyanide in them. But what do I know? Almond milk too? I don't know. I'm not against almond milk, but I don't like it. Bama, what does soap smell like? You make your own soap, Bama Deanna? Oh, you do. Lye and bacon grease. I just watched a video on how to make your own soap. And they basically said, like, yeah, you need grease and lye. And then the guy put it into this mold and then cut it up. But I'm starting to think about doing that myself because it's like, I don't know, how much is it for a bar of soap now? It's not even that like I won't pay that, but it's like a principle thing. Like this shouldn't be that much. And it's like crappy soap. Isn't ricin also derived from almonds? Maybe. And it's not to say like, oh, you're gonna get poisoned from eating a bunch of almonds, but like, you know, too much of anything, I think. Too much of anything. And I'm talking like I was just eating buckets of almonds every day. I started to think maybe don't do that. Arizona boy, but does it actually clean? The homemade soap? Yeah, for sure. It probably cleans better because all they're adding to the store-bought soaps is a lot of, like, scents and artificial chemicals and stuff, or additives, maybe we should say, not artificial chemicals. We use the old kind of ice trays for a mold. That's what I saw this guy doing. Yeah. Dial soap is crappy here, says Happy Cappy. Yeah, it didn't seem like it took that much extra work to make the soap. I'd try it. I make my own bread and other stuff now. Like, I don't wanna buy store-bought bread. Once you make your own, you're like, this isn't that hard." I don't trust if it doesn't have greasy ducks on the front, says Arizona boy. I get it, man. I'd like to see an animal getting clean on the front, but using the natural stuff, it feels good. And you got something to talk about if you ever run into a hippie in real life, you know? I got plenty to talk with them about, but just saying. Let's see. Fresh and raw from Maximum Potency. That couldn't hurt. It couldn't hurt. Fresh soap cleans better, I would assume. Mm, let's see. Trying to make sure. We've got a lot of chats flowing in, guys. This is great. Thank you very much. Happy Cappy says, I just use shampoo. That's efficient. Pamadiana says, lie is the dangerous part. You know what comes to mind when you say that is Fight Club because they're making their own soap and he like does that weird thing where he kisses the back of his hand and then puts lye on that, I believe. And he has to just like sit there and take it. And it's like, I mean, it's probably not that bad. You could probably just sit there and take it, but seems pretty bad. I feel like if Edward Norton can just sit there and take it, so can I, but I'm not gonna chance it. It will clean your booty right off. Well, I don't want to do that. That's one of my most valuable assets. Um, so Bama is a genealogical researcher. Yeah, for sure. A witch doctor for her local community and a soap salesperson. Yeah, but I mean, in this economy, everybody needs multiple gigs. Happy Cappy, Fight Club was crazy. Yeah, it's an all timer. I remember watching that when it came out, and nobody has seen anything like this before. Don't forget to smash that like button, says Space Cowboy. Yes, if you are in here and you have not smashed the like button, smash it now for sure. It helps us get this show out there. And we'll wrap it up at an hour 30 here. So, yeah, like I was saying, we'll have an episode out, hopefully one out tonight, at least for members, and certainly out by tomorrow. Just waiting to hear from the editor on that, who just works. Our editor is awesome, man. He works nonstop. Then we have a Texas Ranger episode coming up, a sleep episode's coming up, which would be a kind of extra special treat. Obviously, our live streams at night. Um, we'll have another one tonight, 7 p.m. Then, yes, well, I'm planning to do a super long, like all day live stream, either Christmas Eve or right after Christmas or something. So that'll be an event where everybody can just come hang out. So I think that'll be fun. And am I forgetting anything else? No, I'll go work up on some more History Fight Championships matchups today as well. Oh, yeah. And mugs, t shirts, and everything should be here next week. That's what we're looking at. So those will be up and you can go grab one if you want to. And I'm getting a website put together too. And anything else? Oh, and putting a book together too. All the stories that I can't tell on YouTube. So the least I can do is put a book together of these stories. So I'll be doing that. And yeah, lots of stuff coming in the pipeline for December. Are you going to wear a Santa hat? Says Elite Super Grunt. Maybe if we do it on Christmas Eve. Um, let's see. For everyone watching, if you're not going, bull, I'm not sure what that means, Plowboy. If hit me with that one more time, Plowboy, because I kind of get what you're saying, but I want to make sure I get it right. Um, let's see. God bless you, says Happy Cappy. Well, God bless you, Happy Cappy. God bless everybody here, man. Thank you guys so much for coming by. I know everybody's got busy lives. We got a lot to do. So anytime you spend here, I really appreciate it. Let's see. Okay. Like I said, if I'm missing your chat, totally sorry. There's a lot flying by me right now. Lie on the skin, says Kenneth Maddox, is crazy painful. I have gone to blisters on my skin when I put the Soul Glow curls in my hair in the 80s. Yikes, man. I don't want to get a lye burn, but I don't know. I kind of think it would be an interesting challenge to see if you could hold out as long as Edward Norton did in the movie, but that's something more for my like 19-year-old self. I'm not going to do that now. Breaking the one rule of Fight Club is talking about it. That's true. We are all breaking the first rule of Fight Club. But like they say in the movie, how are there this many people showing up to the Fight Club meetings to begin with, unless one of us here is breaking the first rule of Fight Club, which is you do not talk about Fight Club. That's my best Brad Pitt impression. Let's see. Bama Deanna, I think you offering the soap recipe? That's awesome. Always get my remedies and soap for free. Oh, that's awesome. People around here don't have much money. Fantastic. Yeah, because also the soap with less in it at the grocery store costs twice as much. Like, what are we doing here? I think we all feel that in some way. Okay. All right, guys. So I'm gonna log off here, and if you haven't already watched our little known battles of the Comanche episode that came out a couple days ago, go check that out. We'll have another episode for you at least tomorrow, no later than tomorrow, and live streams and shorts all the way through till then. So yeah, a lot coming this month and from here on out. So thank you all. Seriously, thank you for all the support, and thanks for tuning in. And everybody have a good day, and we'll see you this evening. Right? God bless. Bye.